Ladies and gentlemen, JAMESLANE here, and the Great Reset is here. It is so much here that the World Economic Forum themselves are literally being like the bad guy in a cheesy film and going, don't worry, we're not doing anything wrong, nothing to see here, whether it be the man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz or Steve Buscemi in Con Air, who's got the whole world in his hands. Ladies and gentlemen, the World Economic Forum wants nothing but death, destruction, and mayhem for the world, cloaked and disguised in the clothing of the beggar, in the clothing of the person saying that we're humble, we're good, we want to help the world, when in fact they want to put every country in chains. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to know this. The Great Reset is here. The World Economic has reared their ugly heads once again, and they want you to not see what they are doing. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is the American Reveille podcast, the 59th episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Today we're going to be talking more about the Great Reset. And I love jumping on this Great Reset stuff as soon as it comes up because it's one of those things that seems to disappear in the headlines. People don't ever notice it. They don't pay attention. In fact, the promo video they put out that we're going to talk about, only something like 7,000 or 8,000 people have seen it. And in a way, they want that. They never want you peeking behind the curtain. But before we get into that, I want to talk to you guys real quick. I've received a lot of emails lately from different people, folks like that. And I need you to understand something first. If you email me, and you send me 17 paragraphs, 3 or 4 even, but they're big. You know, you send me this whole big email, and it's this ranting thing about how our business and organization is going to fail without actually being a human and explaining yourself or saying you're trying to help. If you just come off like that, I need you to understand something. I get death threats every week, okay? I have hundreds of people telling me what a piece of crap I am for doing what we do here at the American Reveille people and waking people up. Folks, if you don't clearly define to me in a giant email, I'm not talking about the couple sentences people send me that are really kind and thankful and all that. I appreciate that. And even the critiques, I'm fine with that too. Send me some short critiques, but you got to let me know that you're on our side here. All right. When you do a 4 or 5 multi-paragraph email exchange with me, basically crapping on our company, and then you end it with, I was just trying to help when I jumped down your throat, my friends, you gotta learn how to speak to people. Especially people, unfortunately, like me, where I'm in a situation where I'm working, 40, 50 hours a week. I go to school full time. I have a family, and I spend another 40 hours a week doing what we do on this podcast and building the organization. So I sleep like 2 hours a night, ladies and gentlemen. So if you come at me like, what are you doing? This whole thing's going to fail. Everything's falling apart. I'm probably going to lose it on you a little bit. I'm sorry. But if you come to me and say, hey, I'm an ally. I listen to your show. I appreciate what you do. And I just want to put out a couple things I've noticed that other companies are doing so that you have a heads up. Hey, I'll listen to you all day. I'll talk to you. We can have a conversation. But you can't just come right off the bat with a left hook, punch me in the jaw, and then try to pick me up off the ground and be like, hey, we're friends. Why did you fall? Why'd you fall, buddy? Well, you punched me in the face. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. All right. So understand that. With that being said, I want you to know, if you aren't seeing me in your YouTube feed, remember, I'm shadow banned. All right. So I've got 2,000-3,000 people that aren't seeing me. All right. So some people are getting daily notifications. Most people aren't. So you're not going to find me. You're going to have to look me up on YouTube, look me up on Odyssey, look me up on Rumble, American_Reveille, or just American Reveille. With that being said, the company itself, American Reveille LLC, we've got some really good things coming up, some awesome planning. I'm an old school baby, ladies and gentlemen. I'm an old school rock and roll baby. And you know what? We used to do things on the street. We had street teams. We would pound the pavement, and that's what we're developing. So if you see that we're just putting out 1 podcast a day, 2 podcasts a day for the next week or 2, I know it's been a little rough. I'm not disappearing. We're not going anywhere. We're consistent. That's why I'm telling you, we are guaranteeing you at least 1 video a day. But I want you to know we're building street teams across this country, brand ambassadors across this country. I'm redoing this entire set, new equipment. We're putting up new curtains, new pictures, new things. In the next day or 2, you're going to see a whole new set get built around us. So we're expanding. We're not going anywhere. It's just that I'm one guy, unfortunately. And so you have to understand, if I make one 30, 40-minute video, that's a 4-hour process of editing and doing art and tagging and all this. We have a lot of people helping us, but not everybody with those specialties is helping us. You know, we have great operations folks, great researchers, great writers. I got a great web designer. That doesn't mean that I have a great digital artist. I still need a great digital artist. I still need, you know, a great talent scout. If anybody would like to be a talent scout, all right, email me, JAMESLANE@AmericanReveille.com, because you have to understand what we're doing here isn't just a podcast. I am building the American Reveille movement, a network that goes across this country, not just physically, not just on the street, not just through street teams, but a network of shows, not just podcasts. It's not all politics. Understand that. All right. Before you email me and you try to take a poop down my throat, understand that we recognize that having 17 shows about the same politics is a recipe for disaster. That's why we have my show about politics, and maybe we'll have 1 or 2 other shows with a different perspective. But at the end of the day, I want to build entertainment. All right. I want to build productions. I want to build documentaries. I want to build things that affect hearts and minds, sway emotions, pull people from this leftist abyss, and over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, yank back America to balance, back towards the right, back towards our traditional values. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a gigantic, large-scale, national business plan in place and being acted upon. All right. In the next few months, we're going to be going around scouting investors and talking to folks and businesses and investment companies about putting down $500K, $1 million, $1.5 million, even more on the American Reveille to really expand us and launch us into the into the sky, basically. Sorry, I thought stars, sky, I thought all these things at the same time, and it's jumbled my words up there. What I really meant to say is, we have a plan in place. We always take critiques. We always take suggestions. But just because you're seeing one guy on one podcast, remember, there's all kinds of things happening behind the scenes. I want you to know that. I want you to know that the people running the American Reveille, we aren't kids. We're military veterans. I'm a Navy veteran. My operations, my COO, all right, he's done multiple tours in theater. Folks, we aren't children. We're men, we're women, we are like you. We're blue-collar, white-knuckle workers, and we're building something beautiful together, something consistent, something disciplined, and something that's going to make a big difference in this country and even the world in the future to come. But obviously there's steps, there's milestones, there's stepping stones, there's different things that we have to do on the way to getting there. Nothing in life comes easy. Nothing in life happens overnight. And you're just going to have to sit in the passenger seat, folks, and hang along for the ride. Unless you have some of those talents that I was talking about earlier. And in that case, email me, JAMESLANE@AmericanReveille.com. You're coming in at the ground floor of what's going to be a major organization. It's a good opportunity for somebody looking for an interesting path to take for their future. But anyway, I wanted to get that off my chest. It's important, and I got it out there. So let's get to the article. For those watching and not listening, take a look at this headline here, and I'm going to read it to you for those listening. Trust us. We're not evil. Come on, man. We're not bad guys. We're not bad anything. We are the great leaders of this world that are just going to bring about a little thing called the socialist utopia for the entire planet. Nothing to see here. There's no sharks with frickin' laser beams in that moat. Don't worry about it. Look, come on, man. Just give us all the money in your bank account. Just give us everything. Give us access to your children. Give us your money, your home, your properties. We're going to live in a world with nothing, and we're all going to love it. Come on, don't you trust us? That's what this is ridiculous crap, guys. Look, Dellingpole, trust us. We're not evil. It claims this in a World Economic Forum video they put out about Davos, all right? They recognize that we are waking up. Don't you see this? This is actually good news, all right? What I read to you, when we talk about this, you're going to be like, what in the hell? And by now, I would wonder why you'd respond that. We've done like 4 videos on the Great Reset so far. And I think they're helping have an effect because, like I said, this is a good thing. If they're putting out videos saying, come on, man, we're not the bad guys, then they obviously know a lot of people are very, very weary of them. Remember, the United States is the key for this. If the U.S. falls, every country in the world falls to this garbage. So we're the only country with a First Amendment. We're the only country with the power, with the chance to even stand up to this. Look what's happening in England. Look what's happening in Australia, all over the world. You go out of your house, you get arrested, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have the proper papers. The fingermen come, like from V for Vendetta, beat you down in the street and drag you off. All right? That's happening in other countries, and they're hoping that America is so large and so disconnected from each other that no one's going to notice until it's too late when it happens here. Folks, we do notice, we do see, and Dellingpole here saying, trust us. Oh, he's got another thing coming. This is Breitbart News, ladies and gentlemen. This is from James Dellingpole, all right, the guy who wrote this. Let's read. The World Economic Forum wants you to know that there's nothing sinister about its globalist master plan, aka the Great Reset for a new world order. And it says so in a promo video released to coincide with its annual Davos summit, which is taking place online all this week. Now, I'm not going to watch this promo video with you on this video. We might do another one because there's going to be so much coming out of Davos this week and next week that there'll probably be 2 or 3 more videos on this subject, and one of them will be able to use that as the starting point. We don't need to talk about that anyway because this is a good overview of seeing what's been happening lately. Keeping on the reading track, in the video, the World Economic Forum admits that some people think the Great Reset sounds like some nefarious plan for world domination. But nothing could be further from the truth, the video insists. The Great Reset's simply an opportunity to build a better world. Can I ask you a question, folks? In any movie, all right, and remember, movies are written by people, and people base movies on the human experience. So anything that happens in a movie, let's take all the special effects and crap out. I'm not talking about space aliens and this and that. I'm talking about the emotions and the way strategies are formed in a movie. It can happen in real life because it comes out of the mind of people, and people they basically conduct their lives just like a hero's journey or an epic or a 3-part series. I mean, that's just how we do it. That's how we organize things. That's why when people write these things, they resonate with us because that's their literal bridge into our psyche. So in any movie, when you've ever heard anybody go, come on, it's not like we have some evil plan. They usually have an evil plan. Have you ever seen anything different? Come on, man. Come on, man. We're going to just keep saying that today. It's not surprising, all right, that people who've been disenfranchised by a broken system and pushed even further by the pandemic will suspect local leaders or global leaders, of conspiracy. If people think otherwise, it claims it's all the fault of this broken system. They're blaming don't look behind the curtain. Don't look at what we're doing here. It's the pandemic. Your government, America, your government's broken. Broken, and we have to fix it because we've all come together and realized that the peasants should never have a chance to rise to power again. That's what this is about, folks. Are we going to have to do it like Macho Man? Yeah, that's what this is about, folks. Oh, yeah, snap into a global reset Slim Jim, ladies and gentlemen. So, says the World Economic Forum. But Could there be a more plausible explanation for people's concern about the Great Reset? That they've started to maybe do their homework and don't like what they've discovered. And that's the point of a lot of these episodes we do on the Great Reset. We do the homework. We bring it to you in an entertaining pill-formed fashion. A spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. You wake up and you stand up and you say no to the Great Reset. And now they have to make videos telling you, come on, man, we ain't the bad guys. Come on. So, for many years, the annual Davos cavalcade of private jets and limousines was something of a joke. Billionaires coming to tell millionaires how ordinary people should live. Look at this freaking stuff here. Do you see how ominous this looks? If you're watching, we're looking at a big round table with microphones. Putin's sitting at one end. It's all ornate. I mean, just this room alone looks like it would be in an evil lair, okay, in a movie. It's marble looking. I wouldn't be surprised if the walls are ivory and there's just giant screens everywhere with another ominous, bald, evil looking dude looking back at Putin. This is literally the scene, right, from Austin Powers where Dr. Evil is in his lair. And he's sitting there and he's talking to this dude on the screen and he's like, $1 billion. This looks like this, guys. If you are listening, go to Breitbart.com. Okay, go to Breitbart.com and look up this article. It's called Delingpole. Trust us, we're not evil, claims Davos WEF Great Reset promo video. You go to that, you scroll down halfway, you look at this picture. Russian President Vladimir Putin and the WEF's Klaus Schwab speak via a video link, January 27th, 2021. That's from this morning. Look at the evil in this room. Let's keep reading. But since the Chinese coronavirus pandemic, people have been paying much closer attention to what this annual plutocrat shindig in Davos actually entails. And that's a totalitarian world takeover. Exactly what they're telling you it's not, so that they can do it right under your noses. And if any Biden supporters are listening to this, just remember all the promises he broke in the first 3 days of his presidency. Just remember that, and then look at what I'm telling you with open eyes and ears, okay? In the past, the WEF has not been secretive about its aims, okay? It hasn't at all. This is a totalitarian world takeover in which a tiny elite will control every aspect of the lives of ordinary people across the world, reducing them to the status of medieval serfs. They've done it so many times throughout our human history. From kings and queens, from slavery thousands of years ago, and even recently. Folks, do you really think the elite in this world have changed? We still have death, we still have war, we still have disease, we still have famine, we still have people suffering. Their cure for suffering is worldwide and global slavery, ladies and gentlemen. And it's, when we say slavery, we all get this picture of Egyptians or African Americans or people in chains and being whipped. There are other types of slavery. I want you to open your ears to that. We'll talk about it more in videos to come, but slavery isn't always physical, ladies and gentlemen. Some aspects of it can be. Slavery can be digital. Slavery can be mental. There are all kinds of things that encompass the realm of slavery. And if we stand by and we say nothing and do nothing, these billionaires will make sure that we are slaves for eternity. Eternity, ladies and gentlemen. In the past, the WEF has not been secretive about its aims. Like I said, in 2016, it released a video in which it boasted about a future where no one owned any property. I've seen this video. It's real. It's right here in this link. We'll show it to you in another clip coming up. Welcome to 2030. I own nothing. I have no privacy, and life has never been better. They aren't lying to you, folks. This is what they want. This should scare you. Last year, the World Economic Forum's founder, Klaus Schwab, even wrote a book celebrating the pandemic, not as a crisis, but as an opportunity for a new normal. Now, folks, you see this bald guy on the screen here? If you're listening, I'm talking about that white room with the oval table that looks like it's made by billionaires carved out of ivory, and there's this Dr. Evil screen on the wall with this bald, sleazy-looking guy staring back at Putin. That's Schwab, all right? And this is what he wrote in his book called COVID-19, The Great Reset. At the time of writing, June 2020, the pandemic continues to worsen globally. Many of us are pondering when things will return to normal. The short response is never. Nothing will ever be normal. Nothing will ever return to the broken sense of normalcy that prevailed prior to the crisis, because the coronavirus pandemic marks a fundamental inflection point in our global trajectory. What that means is that it gives them an opportunity for the rich people to change the course of human history. All right, in a bunch of big fancy words, excuse me. But what if what most people actually want is not a new normal, but just to get their old lives back as quickly as possible? But neither Schwab nor the people pushing the Great Reset understand this nor care, ladies and gentlemen. Their latest video urges this: so we can move towards a better world. All right. One of the curious aspects of the video is its criticism that since the pandemic, the ultra rich has gotten richer and the poor have gotten poorer. At the beginning of 2020, 1% of the world's population owned 44% of wealth. Since the start of the pandemic, billionaires have increased theirs by more than 25%, while the 150 million poorest have fallen back into extreme poverty. This may be true, but it's hypocritical coming from the World Economic Forum, given that so many of its members and speakers belong to the billionaire category that most benefited from the pandemic. And that's what we have to ask ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. When you're talking about somebody of this wealth that never, ever has lived a life you've lived or I have lived, they don't think the same as us. They don't live the same as us. They don't even breathe the same air as us. And now they think they can think for us and control us. Folks, you have to ask yourself, what's in it for me? All right. So the billionaires, before they do this, they say, what's in it for me? You really think that all these people just want good, happy things for the world? If you think that, you, my friend, might need some counseling. Bojo tweets praise for the Great Reset. Strap in, everyone. 2020 is going to be a wild ride. That's Breitbart out of London. Indeed, those who have been watching these developments closely even argue that this is the whole point. Dellingpod guest Patrick M. Wood told me he thinks draconian anti-coronavirus measures taken by world leaders at the instigation of the CCP-controlled World Health Organization represent a deliberate and concerted attempt to crush small business, empower large corporations, and make ordinary people more dependent on the state that they run, folks. To me, it's highly revealing of the elitist nature of the World Economic Forum that hardly anyone has been watching its panel discussions. Even this week's biggest draw so far, which was President Xi Jinping of China, has garnered less than 19,000 views for his uninspiring speech. Comments have been disabled, by the way, by the World Economic Forum for all panel discussions, suggesting that it's perfectly well aware that most comments would be negative. The Xi speech has so far gotten 400 thumbs up and 1,100 thumbs down. I expect the ratio would be much greater if anyone bothered to watch it, or if, YouTube didn't change likes and dislikes. You know how they can do that. They've been doing it. They do it to Biden. Biden barely gets anyone watching, too. Nobody likes these people. Remember, the devil's in the details. The numbers don't lie. And the numbers tell us, folks, the numbers tell us that not one regular, hardworking, red-blooded American likes what's going on or wants it. Nor, all right, I'm reading again, does anyone much seem to care about the creepy music video the WEF has made? Clearly, at great expense for its features, classical musicians playing all locations all over the world. They took this music video, all right? This is the type of money they have. They filmed the same video in Massachusetts, all right? Sao Paulo, Brazil, Drakensberg, South Africa, Kabul, Afghanistan, Philadelphia, Beijing, China, Florence, Italy, Vienna, Austria. The title of the video is called A Global Concert, Davos Agenda 2021. With all the money that they spent on making these things, they could have just helped the poor people around the world. The combined money going to Davos is in the trillions. You want to help 150 million poor people around the world? How about putting some money where your mouth is? Oh, wait, you are. Because you are all the man behind the curtain from The Wizard of Oz. There's a huge disparity between the impressively high-level names that the WEF attracts. Now, I'm going to just read this the way it is because it's actually really funny. Speakers at this year's online conference include French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, Doom Goblin Greta Thunberg, and I agree with Doom Goblin. I got to give my hats off to the Delling Pod folks because Doom Goblin's a pretty funny name for Greta Thunberg. Dr. Snake Anthony Fauci. I don't know about Dr. Snake. I might call him Dr. Stromboli. I don't know. And the deeply unimpressive viewing figures. I just thought about this. I feel like Anthony Fauci and Cuomo would be like sitting at like a bar together drinking scotch and plotting doom and gloom for the rest of the... Can't you imagine that? Can't you see that? Like the short, tiny little Dr. Fauci and the Anthony Cuomos of the world sitting around like the good fellas trying to mafia the country. Anyway, that's just my brain going off in a weird direction. Let's keep reading. But this should not be taken to mean, as my fellow broadcaster Toby Young has suggested on our London Calling podcast, that the WEF is an irrelevance. Rather, it's an indication of the remote, elitist, anti-democratic nature of the enterprise, all right? The 1% of the 1% and their sympathizers in business and politics all seem to be in agreement that the Great Reset is a great idea. But the fact that no ordinary person shares their enthusiasm seems not to bother them one bit. And it should bother you, ladies and gentlemen, because as you notice, all of these people, like when Biden says unity, he's only talking to the left. He's not talking to everybody in the country. He's just talking to the left. When the people from Davos, when these billionaires and trillionaires of the world, and even though they're on paper not as trillionaires, their assets, they're combined, well, all these, they're trillionaires, all right? All of these folks, they're not talking. That's why you only see 7,000 views, 20,000 views, 10,000. They're not talking to you and I. They're talking to the other elites. That's who's watching, folks. That's who's watching. All right. The green agenda is the Great Reset, and it is. All right. It is, ladies and gentlemen. The green agenda is the Great Reset. And we've talked about the Great Reset multiple times. We'll talk about it multiple more. If you want to really know what the hell's going on, you start paying attention to Davos. Biden's a puppet, folks. Biden's a puppet. Build Back Better. Go to the WEF's website. Go find the World Economic Forum and find out where Build Back Better came from, folks, because when you find out that Build Back Better was a slogan for the Great Reset before it was ever Biden's fake slogan, you're going to poop your pants a little bit. And that brings us to a very interesting place that we're at right now. Brings us to a very interesting place because at the end of the day, just like we've heard, if everybody stands, the board game will fall off our backs and the elites will lose everything. You have to recognize what these people are. They might be the Great Wizard of Oz. They may put out their loud and booming voice. But folks, at the end of the day, these people are nothing more. They are nothing more than a pathetic and sad little man, right? Sitting behind the curtain, ladies and gentlemen, sitting behind the curtain, screaming doom and gloom and terrifying people into submission. But I promise you, all right, and I'm going to show you this little clip. This is what you find. This is what humans always find at the end of the yellow brick road.
Do not arouse the wrath of the great and powerful Oz. I said come back tomorrow.
If you are really great and powerful, you'll keep your promises.
Do you presume to criticize the great Oz? You ungrateful creatures think yourselves lucky that I'm giving you audience.
President Trump is Toto in this scenario.
Oh, the great Oz has spoken. Oh. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. The great Oz has spoken.
Who are you?
Oh, I am the great and powerful Wizard of Oz.
You are? I don't believe believe you.
No, I'm afraid it's true. There's no other wizard except me. You humbug! Yes, it's exactly so. I'm a humbug.
All of these people are humbugs, ladies and gentlemen. That's a fun word to say. You humbug! You know what, folks? Biden, the deep state, Davos, these billionaires that want to control the world, they're the Wizard of Oz. All right. President Trump was Toto in this scenario. But you and I, we're Dorothy. All right. We're the cowardly lion who finds courage. We're the Tin Man without a heart who finds his heart, ladies and gentlemen. We're the scarecrow without a brain who finds his brain. We are all traveling the yellow brick road together, folks, together. We now know who the man behind the curtain is. And as long as we keep talking, the rest of the world will wake up and see as well. It's not an easy fight ahead of us, folks. It's not an easy war of words. It's not an easy war of ideologies or influences. But this is the key to winning the fight in the end. The key is to keep exposing the man behind the curtain. Folks, thank you so much for watching this. All right. I appreciate you with all my heart. We're going to keep putting stuff out. I'm excited for you to see the new set coming up. I'm excited for you to be a part of this ground floor organization, this movement, this thing that's going to sweep the nation and take it by storm, this different plan of action, the way we're going to fight the left using influence, ideologies, entertainment. No one else has the vision and is doing it and is going to do it the way we do it. The folks you see now, they just have some more money than us, and that's okay. I'm not worried about it. Our plan is solid. Our business plan is solid. And as we develop it right and we pitch investors, the money will come in and you'll see just what the American Reveille and the American people can accomplish together. Have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Bye.